Welcome to our animated breakdown series of House of the Dragon Season 3. Episode 6, titled Faceless Men, opens with the brutal and long-awaited Butcher's Ball, a moment that book readers have been anticipating since the Dance of the Dragons began on screen. Sir Criston Cole, the man who started as a low-born Dornish knight and rose to become the Kingmaker and Hand of the King, now leads his depleted and exhausted forces through the muddy, fog-shrouded riverlands. He stumbles upon what appears to be a ruined Tully camp, littered with the bodies of dead rivermen scattered across the trampled grass. Cole, a seasoned veteran of countless battles, immediately senses something is wrong. The stillness is too deliberate, the positioning of the bodies too uniform. But before he can shout a warning, it is already too late. The dead soldiers spring to life, rising from the mud with swords already in hand, and the trap is sprung with devastating precision. Cole fights valiantly, shouting the ancient Hightower words, "We light the way," as he cuts down one attacker after another. But his men, exhausted and outnumbered, are quickly overwhelmed and surrounded by the relentless Riverlands forces. Rank upon rank of rivermen step into view through the fog, led by Oscar Tully, the young and ruthless Lord of Riverrun, and Lord Roderick Dustin, the grizzled commander of the feared Winter Wolves. Cole's second in command, Sir Gwayne Hightower, had already left the camp earlier, unable to watch his commander's slow suicide march. Now, Cole stands alone, surrounded by enemies. He asks, "Who are they?" One of his remaining men answers grimly, "Our death." Outnumbered and with no hope of victory, Cole tries to bargain for his men's lives. He offers himself as a sacrifice, requesting a duel to spare his soldiers. But Oscar Tully delivers a cold, brutal refusal. "I made a promise to the dead, Cole. I told them I would build a sept out of traitors' bones, and I don't have near enough bones yet." Cole accepts his fate with a strange sense of peace. He draws his long sword, plants it in the earth, and declares, "As you will it. We could begin here, 4 of us. One of me against the 3 of you. Will that be enough to make a fight of it?" He then reaches inside his armor and pulls out Alicent's embroidered handkerchief, the very keepsake Gwayne had caught him holding in the Season 2 finale. He runs his thumb across its fabric, ties it around the handle of his sword, and lifts the blade. There is no duel, no final, glorious charge. Before he can take a single step, Alysanne Black Alley Blackwood, the fierce archer of House Blackwood, looses 3 arrows from her bow. The first strikes him in the torso, the second hits his shoulder, and the third pierces his face, ending his life instantly. He falls to the ground, still gripping the sword that bears Alicent's favor. The Highborn have spent 3 seasons lifting Criston Cole up and setting him aside as it suited. His life's last act is to bind himself freely to the one person he never stopped serving. The Butcher's Ball concludes with the Riverlands forces victorious, and the Kingmaker is dead. In King's Landing, the small council reels from the recent City Watch murders that have shaken the city to its core. Daemon Targaryen, the Road Prince, is furious. He storms into the council chamber and demands Dreamfyre as punishment, calling for the complete destruction of Tumbleton and all who oppose Rhaenyra's rule. Myndrex, the White Worm and Rhaenyra's trusted spymaster, warns against such an attack. She points out that a queen who burns her own loyal subjects would prove every slander that Aemond Hightower has spread about her, turning the small folk against her forever. Rhaenyra, weary and wounded by the constant betrayals, agrees with Myndrex's counsel. Instead of Dreamfyre, she orders assassins to be sent to Tumbleton, tasking Daemon with rooting out the rebellion. Daemon is frustrated, but accepts, only to discover that the Gold Cloaks, the City Watch he once commanded and molded into his personal army, have resigned en masse. They're tired of going unpaid, and they fear for their lives after the murders. One departing guard explains bluntly that his family is going hungry, and he cannot afford to die for a queen who cannot even pay him. Frustrated and feeling utterly impotent, Daemon dons a gold cloak himself and walks the streets of Flea Bottom in disguise. He encounters and kills an assassin, learning through interrogation that their numbers are vast and well organized. This rebellion is not a small group of disgruntled subjects. It is a growing movement, one that threatens to tear the city apart apart from within. He also encounters Ulf the Dragon Seed, the silver-haired drunk who once claimed the dragon's silver wing, and beats him brutally for disobeying orders. The Dragon Seed's resentment toward the Targaryens begins to grow, feeding the seeds of their eventual betrayal. Elsewhere in the Red Keep, guards discover Alicent Hightower and Queen Helaena Targaryen hiding in a secret passage. A furious Rhaenyra storms in and confronts them, demanding to know why they were trying to escape. Alicent, desperate to protect her daughter, reveals that Helaena is pregnant, carrying a child that could one day claim the Iron Throne. Rhaenyra, wounded by Alicent's continued distrust, refuses to release them. Instead, she doubles their guards and restricts them further, keeping people from seeing that Helaena is with child. A child born of Aegon II would be a rival to Rhaenyra's own sons, a threat to the stability of her reign. Rhaenyra begins a cruel, manipulative game with Alicent, demanding information about Aemond's location. She knows that if she can capture Aemond, she can end the war. Alicent, seeing no other way to protect her daughter, eventually reveals her belief that Aemond is at Harrenhal. This leads Rhaenyra to send her own assassins, the Faceless Men of the episode's title, after him. At Harrenhal, Aemond Targaryen is still recovering from his recent wounds, vulnerable without the protection of Vhagar. Alys Rivers, the mysterious and otherworldly woman who has taken charge of Harrenhal, tends to him. She shows him a shocking discovery, a crate hidden deep in the castle's crypts, containing 5 ancient dragon eggs. She hints that these eggs could be hatched, and that he could claim them for himself. She whispers the promise of power. They could rule together with 5 dragons at their command. The scene is a powerful temptation, offering Aemond a chance to reclaim the power he has lost. It ties back to old Targaryen history and the dream of a future still waiting to emerge, making Harrenhal feel like a place where prophecy and temptation are alive. The narrative shifts to the growing discontent among the dragon seats. Hugh Hammer, the massive blacksmith who now rides Vermithor, sneaks into Tumbleton to find his wife, Cat. He asks her to leave with him, to escape the war and the chaos that surrounds, but she refuses, angry that he abandoned her while he sought glory and power. This rejection is a crushing blow to Hugh, and it sows the first seeds of his eventual betrayal. In Tumbleton, Gwayne Hightower arrives from his journey and confronts Ormond, warning him against continuing a hopeless war. Ormond is arrogant, confident that he can win. Then a delegation claiming to be from House Baratheon arrives, but Gwayne quickly realizes they are assassins in disguise. He acts without hesitation, killing them and foiling the plot before they can complete their mission. The episode then cuts to Alan and Corlys, where Alan finds his father in the field and tries to bring him back to King's Land. Corlys is bitter over his family's lack of recognition, but eventually reveals that Tywin Lannister survived the Gullet and is heading toward Rook's Rest. The episode ends on a major cliffhanger in the woods. Lord Corlys Velaryon is ambushed by Ser Jon Roxton and Green assassins. His men are cut down, and Corlys is left alone, surrounded, with his fate hanging in the balance. It is one of the season's biggest cliffhangers. The war is no longer moving toward conflict. It is already inside. That is episode 6. Criston Cole falls, Rhaenyra becomes colder, Aemond is tempted by dragon eggs, and Corlys is left on the edge of disaster. Thanks for watching. In the next episode, the fallout from everything here is going to hit even harder.